Traveling around the country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how it started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, God has smiled on me. He has set me free.
It's Wednesday, November the 19th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real. We're keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, the Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. Coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And we are beseeching, inviting, extending to you whatever it is that gets your attention for you to be involved in the action. And I'm glad to see some of you are already calling in 1-877-532-5797, or some of you are on the message board at livestream@nationalactionnetwork.net. Laurie said hi from Chi-Town. What was that one? Laurie Jones from Chi-Town. Then I just see Barbara Jean said Wednesday afternoon greetings from Chicago. So Chicago is tuned in. Vivian Denise says watching from South Daytona, Florida. You know, Denise, my father was from a little place called Wabassa, Florida, which was not far from Daytona Beach. I remember I was a kid before he left us. We used to go to Wabassa, Florida. I don't know if you know where that is. I've not been able to find it on the map. As much as I go to Florida, I've not been able to find it, but it was called Wabassa, Florida. Evangelist Ramsey says, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. Over the hump day, at least for most of us, do have a grand day on purpose. Reverend Ramsey, the evangelist, and she is that and a lot more, extraordinary activist. So I see we're lining up our callers already, and I see that we have our people on the board, on our message board. Lot to talk about today. I mean, it really is a lot of news going on. First of all, though, I want to raise that the Obamacare credits look likely to expire as President Trump, ruled out an extension. Now, House Republicans were divided as the deadline loomed. ACAC, which is the Affordable Care Act, ACA, which is Obamacare, expires on December 31st. Now, that threatens major premium spikes for 22 million Americans. Swing districts Republicans like Jen Keegan are urging a one-year extension, but GOP leaders refuse to consider it. December 31st, New Year's Eve, midnight, it expires. Once it expires, premiums go sky high. This is the president that told you he was going to deal with affordability. Now, at the same time, we deal with ACA. Yesterday, the Congress passed a bill to force the release of the Epstein files. That was overwhelming. And Trump, when he saw they didn't have the votes, started saying, yeah, we'll release it. But now we're told that they're going to try to use all kind of games because Trump had called on the Attorney General Bondi to see if, to start an investigation of Bill Clinton and Larry Summers, former president of Harvard and all. And there is the game they can play saying, well, there's still investigations. We can't release the file. We'll see if we see these files released or not. Then something that is outrageous to me, even for Trump, he defended the Saudi crown prince yesterday. Talk about Khashoggi, the Khashoggi murder. This bin Salman, Mohammed bin Salman, who's the crown prince, according to all kinds of intelligence units, both in the United States and Europe, said that bin Salman had approved, if not ordered, the execution of Jamal Khashoggi, who was a columnist for the Washington Post, beheaded him. Yesterday, when it was brought up, Trump, who had rolled out the red carpet, hailed Mohammed bin Salman as a phenomenal leader, announced that he was designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally. And Trump denied any conflict of interest, even though there are family ties going on between the Trump organization and that country. I mean, it's amazing. In your face. They're not even hiding it. And at the same time, Trump is dismantling the education department. He has Linda McMahon of the Wrestlers ownership family had to break it down. NEA President Becky Pringle calls the plan cruel and illegal for the students to be abandoned by this administration while giving priority to billionaires getting tax cuts. All of this as Trump's popularity is taking a real hit, a real decline. So now you got Affordable Care Act about to expire. You got the Epstein files voted to come out, but they're going to try to use some legal maneuver to stop it. You got the whole question of the Affordable Care Act, as I said, and you've got the whole question of how they are going to deal with the questions of the Department of Education being dismantled. A lot to talk about today. And all of it wraps around the president's throat. I want to pick up where I was yesterday as well. What is the moral code in this country? When you can see people aggressively fight to protect men that were raping underage girls in a systematic, clear way, and we tolerate that, and we have a guy sitting in the White House that's blocking people even knowing why he knew these people. And it is amazing to me, breathtaking almost, that we think there's some moral about this. But when I look at a videotape of a man saying grab a woman by her privates and they elect him president of the United States, where's the moral standards? Where are the values? And in the middle of all of this, you do have a judge yesterday, a 3-judge panel in Texas, saying that the new Texas laws, Texas voting district lines, were redone based on racial lines, attacked them outright, and said that Governor Abbott's and these new rules or these new districts were wrong and invalidated them. Now they only count, they only a way of appealing now is go to the Supreme Court, and if the court will take it. And I think that it is really interesting to me where this is going to go. Really interesting. So a lot to talk about today. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And Tina Jenkins is saying, good afternoon, blessed to you, Reverend Sharpton. Thank you for your service. God bless you and Reverend Jesse Jackson. Yes, please keep Reverend Jackson in your prayers. I talked to Jesse Jr. a little while ago, and as you know, I was out there visiting him in Reverend Jackson Hospital on Monday. All right, let's get ready to take a break, and we're going to open up the phones. I really want you to let me know how you feel about the Affordable Care Act expiring and the Republicans saying they ain't going to do nothing about it, and let it roll, which is going to increase premiums exponentially. As well as I really want to hear what you got to say about the Epstein files and their release, as well as the voting redistricting ruling by the federal judges panel in the state of Texas. A lot of callers, a lot of issues. I just named 3 that I really want you to weigh in on, but you can weigh in on other issues. Let's just make sure whatever you call in on that you keep it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, in which they started at Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance that they could fight in the 50s at ACPD with the French Formula together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this stuff.
Church, I want to present to you a man of God, a man of his community, the Reverend Howard Hundley.
Put your hands together.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, the call-in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
All right, Rev, you're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797 or twitter.com, the Rev Al, or go to live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Let me say by way of announcements, don't forget, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. Used to be MSNBC. It's now MS Now. Same station, same place on your dial. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And already I'm working on this weekend with the whole drama and trauma around the Epstein case, and we'll have some of the people in the Senate on that. With the increased ICE attacks, you see ICE going into North Carolina. I had the mayor of one of the North Carolina cities on last weekend. I'm going to be looking at that. I'm certainly going to be looking on the ramifications of the court ruling against Governor Abbott in Texas. Got to have some of them on that. And, of course, some of the governors on what we're going to deal with the Affordable Care Act expiring, how governors can handle that. So a lot of reasons you really need to watch Politics Nation this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're with me. Then, of course, you that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem at National Action Network's headquarters, the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And I believe you will not be the same. You come to a rally of National Action Network. I'm there this Saturday looking for you. And, of course, you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, which is the only black-owned national black gospel television network. Or you can watch it live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Also, we're getting ready. Next Tuesday is our turkey giveaway at the Harlem headquarters. You that need a turkey, there's a lot of people stealing it, they SNAP money. Some people furloughed. You can come get a turkey. I'm going to be there 5 p.m. at the House of Justice, handing out turkeys as long as we have them. And then on Thanksgiving Day, which is a week from tomorrow, we will be serving hot meals. I have my Thanksgiving dinner. My family does with the community. Those that are elderly and don't have people to have a dinner with them. Those that are homeless. Mayor-elect Mandani is coming by to be with us this Thanksgiving Day. So call if you want to be a part of the Turkey Day at the House of Justice. Call or go online to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number right now at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. Say, I want to come on Thanksgiving Day and eat with the community, or I want to come help serve. Some people come, we start at 11 in the morning. Some people come and serve an hour, hour and a half, and then go back home to have their family Thanksgiving dinner. If there ever was a year we all need to commune together, it is this year. Go to 1-877-626-4651 and reserve your spot to help me feed people on Thanksgiving Day. All right, let me get ready to go to the phones. Let's start in Portland, Oregon with Empress. Empress, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. I don't hear Empress.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now, yes.
Can you hear me, Reverend Al?
Yes.
Okay. Good day to you. I just want to say blessings to you. I thank you for your long-term commitment to this fight for our people and for our country. I wanted to respond to your question about the moral code of our country. And the moral code of our country is being displayed in front of our face every day. My dad taught me, you don't believe what people say, you watch what they do. And it only makes sense that a nation that condones the rape and sexual assault and systemic oppression of women, will continue to support this leader. Rep, just because slavery was abolished doesn't mean we got rid of the people who believed in slavery or the enslavement of our people. The law has always been in place to benefit whites and oppress and deprive the non-whites. They've always been above the law, which is why a white man convicted of several felonies is the current president.
Right.
And when he pardoned those people who participated in the insurrection of the Capitol, he showed us that they were above the law. Rev, before I go, I thank you for the opportunity. I just like to ask, why aren't our black leaders doing a little bit more strategically with the protest and boycott? And by that, I mean, you know, unity is the order of the day. We've done a phenomenal job not supporting Target. Can we get a strategic long-term plan that empowers us to take down other major corporations and empowers us to spend only with our black-owned businesses when possible?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons that, and thank you for your call, one of the reasons I've said that NAN, which did the big Wall Street March, now we're targeting 10 companies, buying shares in them, going to their shareholders meetings. And some of them have been pushed back between Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I'll be announcing them. I don't want to announce them too far in advance because I don't want them to know we're coming, but we bought shares in hundreds of companies that have ended DEI. And we're going into shareholders meetings saying, we're shareholders. Why are you hurting the company when you made more profits when you had diversity? That's going to be the second phase of this. And believe me, it's got to be a continued economic fight on all fronts. But thank you for your call. Manning Rollerson Sr. It says Abbott, Texas, is sick of him. I don't think he believes in freedom. And I think you're right. And it says Manning Rollerson Sr. says, you've been a great leader for my generation. Keep up the fight. I'm going to fight till I can't fight no more. I promise you that, Manning. Let's go to Mustafa in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Mustafa.
Reverend Al, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, I'm just so frustrated with the news and watching this character Trump berate people, sue this, that, and another entity, and they not fight back. It's totally preposterous. Even the victims of Epstein should come forward, in my opinion, and say, hey, this bully abused me. It reminds me of one time, I bought my son a starter jacket many years ago. A kid took his jacket at school. He didn't want to tell who did it. And I said, look, if you don't tell, nothing's going to happen. If you do tell, I can act and get it back. He revealed it. Hey, this boy right there, Leonard Smith, took my jacket right there. We went and got it back. So the victims got to come forward, hook or crook, and say, hey, look, this man, this woman, whomever abused me. I'm sick and tired of the wrangling. I'm so sick and tired of it, man. And it's just preposterous. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that you are correct. It is preposterous. It is, I think, in many ways, showing a sense of weak leadership. And I think that is why those that stand up, we need to hold them up and support them. And those that don't, we need to tell them, if you were not going to fight, then why get in the ring? It's really just that simple. I think you're right. Thank you for your call.
Yeah, man.
James Thomas says, Rev, with all that's going on now with Trump dismantling programs, this is a big bump to get over, so we should be called to work it out. To work it out Wednesday. Work it out Wednesday. Okay, I like it. Work it out Wednesday. I like it. And Tanya Stovall says a lot of people will still lose their SNAP benefits because of new restrictions jump. The new restrictions jump has made it harder for people to get SNAP benefits. Tanya's right. It's very alarming, which is why those of us on this battlefield better fight like we never fought before. Young, old, in between, don't matter. We don't have the luxury of playing the games. They've declared war on us. And if you don't realize this, because you're not fighting back. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm gonna keep marching, I'm gonna keep agitating, and I'm gonna keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time, Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
No justice! No justice! 62 years ago today, Martin marched in Washington. 62 years later, the dream is not dead.
I'm here because I must be here. Democracy is not there for the pig, and you have to fight for democracy. That's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
Is the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street. No justice! No justice! No justice! What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people
keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go right back to the phones. Let me go to Chicago, to the extraordinaire of activism. I mean that. I don't give out compliments that I don't feel are deserving. Activist extraordinaire, Pam. Pam, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton. I don't take it lightly, and I really try to live up to the title. I can't do as much as I used to, but I'm certainly making my voice heard through phone calls, through emails, and whatever else I have to do. So thank you.
Thank you.
First and foremost, let me just say, Reverend Jackson, let us all keep him in our prayers. And as I always say, with all of our civil rights leaders, but I thank you for your presidential run. I thank Reverend Jackson for his 2 presidential runs. I mean, you know, he transformed the Democratic Party. And as I've said to you once before, I can only imagine what the party could have become if he had been president. That would have been, had you become president, how much more black people, working class people, everybody, the world would have benefited. And I mean that truly, so know that. Reverend Sharpton, so let me go back to the adjudicated sexual abuser who Judge Kaplan said committed rape. And this is specifically for his supporters who voted for him. As you said, Reverend Sharpton, you all knew he grabbed women by the pee.
Right.
He had been abusive to his wives. He had made those vulgar, vile comments about his daughter. And so if that wasn't enough for you, then you have to look in the mirror and ask, what is wrong with me? I mean, you really have to do that search.
That's right. Because he didn't hide it. This was public.
Just blatant with it. And see, and remember, VP Harris said she knows his type, that he's a sexual predator. He's the kind of man, Reverend Sharpton, needs to be always sexually stimulated. That's why he has women of a particular look always surrounding him. So he can, you know, be in a state of arousal. And I'm putting it mildly because you might have young people listening.
Right.
But you know exactly, and your audience knows exactly what I'm talking about. And professionals know what I'm talking about. So with, thank God that the Epstein files will be released. And I know they want to put at the forefront the Republicans that came on board. But I'm thankful for every Democratic, leader who said release it, and they stayed relentless on it. So let me talk about what's going to come out. And you can ask attorney Jennifer Jones Austin about this, because they're saying that there's going to be some redacting of the files. But then I listened to someone else, and they said, wait a minute. The information is out there. I listened to 2 interviews with Virginia Giuffre with the Australian 60 Minutes. I'm asking people, invest the time to listen to what that young lady had to say. She said Epstein was violent in his rape and treatment of women, that he was a sadist, S-A-D-I-S-T. And for those of you who don't know what that means, look it up, please. Now, she talked about there were many people who knew, business people, elected officials, heads of state, royalty. So she was telling the truth. And then, Reverend Sharpton, she showed a photo. She was at a party. And this is public knowledge. Can I say the model that was at the party? Is that okay?
Yeah, if it's public knowledge, go ahead.
It's public knowledge. She showed the photo. But I want you all to know, one of the people in the photo was Naomi Campbell. Now, she didn't accuse her or anything, but she said often that they would go to modeling agencies. and get girls. I mean, please listen to this. But she also said, she was in the photo, Virginia. She said, look at this photo. I'm a little girl. She said, did anybody think to ask why is a young girl at this party, this adult party? She said, no. She said, you can see her in the photo, just looking kind of aimless. I'm asking, look at that interview. So you had a bunch of adults drinking, partying, doing drugs at an adult party, and here she is, a teenager. And you could tell she's a teenager, if not younger. Nobody said anything. So, Reverend, I'm going to compile my own list because I think I can. And we can pretty much surmise the people in Hollywood and some of the other people who have a propensity to, indulge with young girls and young boys. But the record is there. The estate of Epstein, Virginia, all of her information is with the FBI. There are people who know what occurred, and they are silent. And it's disgusting. See, we tell our people in the community, come out, say something. You see something, say something, do something. I'm asking these millionaires and billionaires, what are you going to do? Which one of them are going to come up and say, yes, Epstein did this, and the rapist in the White House knew about it? Judge Kaplan said he committed rape. So I feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
So that's the piece on that. Reverend Sharpton, regarding the shareholders and you staking your claim, thank you for that. Health care is going to be denied for millions. So in addition to what you're doing, Reverend Sharpton, and I know you said you were having strategic meetings about this, we need a mass withdrawal of money from one of these banks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And when you call the bank, or let me know, because nobody wants to sever their relationship with their bank.
Right.
But at this day and time, I will, and I'll go through the inconvenience of it, because we can't keep asking advocates and other people like you who are on the front lines to do all the hard work, but we don't want to suffer. We don't want to be inconvenienced.
Yep.
So these banks need to feel the pressure. People will not have health care. And that will devastate people. And I know some of us don't care because, we got it made, Reverend Sharpton.
Right.
We have our good car, good house. We're living high, not hungry, not wanting for anything. So I'm asking you to do that. And then lastly, Jennifer Jones-Austin, ask her about the redistricting, the judges. Because if the Supreme Court, I think, takes it, I'm just wondering, what could be the outcome? What could be some of their, decisions?
Yeah, well, she'll be on tomorrow. I definitely will ask them. And I've been on the phone back and forth with her and other lawyers trying to get the interpretation of this. One of the things I can say, and she can give more detail tomorrow, is it puts the Supreme Court in a real vice, because if they rule that the Texas federal panels, three federal judges, and the one that wrote the decision was nominated by Donald Trump. This is a Trump guy. And he said that the original lines in Texas, the original district lines, were not based on race, but that they gerrymandered the lines that they're throwing out was based on race. Now, if they go to the Supreme Court, they're going to have to prove then that the original lines were based on race. Well, this court said they were not. They didn't see the evidence of that. And if they say that the present lines based on race is all right, then they got to say DEI is all right. So they between a rock and a hard place. Now, some lawyers are saying to me, Pam, that they may not take the case because it's too hot to handle. So we're going to see. Just because they're appealing to the Supreme Court doesn't mean the Supreme Court has to take the case. If they don't take the case, then it stays with these three judges and the original district lines stay. If it goes to Supreme Court's in advice on how they handle it, And do they handle it in time to change the district lines for the midterm elections? Because they could kick it down the road till next year and the decision come out too late to change the district lines.
Thank you. Thank you for that insight. So that gives me a better understanding.
All right, we're going to stay on it. Thank you for your call. As always, good to hear your voice. O.G. Kelly's saying, I don't believe that the Epstein files will be released once Trump's corrupt DOJ opens an investigation into the Epstein files. The files will be once again sealed and not released. Yeah, that's what a lot of commentators are saying. And I think that if that happens, it shows again how he has something to hide. Nobody goes through these lengths unless there's a reason. And I think that if he hides them again, it's going to help the Democrats take the Congress in the midterm elections. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Please receive one of the greatest voices for the urban community. One, amen. Not them yet. This is one of the greatest voices, not many of the greatest voices. We're going to adjust the program quickly at this time. This man has spoken out. He stood on the front line. He has been a man for the people, of the people. Please receive Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Bishop. To the Franklin family and to all of us gathered, Aretha Franklin was not only an unparalleled artist, she was a civil rights activist and freedom fighter. It is easy to celebrate the gifts that God gives. It is more difficult when someone uses those gifts in ways that enhances humanity. Aretha Franklin was given special gifts, but she used it in a special way. And she would not want us to celebrate her without talking about she stood for something. She never shamed us. She never disgraced us. She never made us make excuses for her. She represented the best in our community, and she fought for our community until the end. I first met Miss Franklin when I was a teenager. I'd become youth director of New York Operation Breadbasket, and she would come to the strategy meetings with Reverend Jackson. And I would hear the stories of how when Dr. Martin Luther King couldn't make payroll, Harry Belafonte and Aretha Franklin went on an 11-city tour to raise money for Martin Luther King. A lot of artists hang up Dr. King's photo, but Aretha went and raised money and gave it and worked free. Her daddy marched with Dr. King, and she never stopped supporting. As the years went by and I developed National Action Network, and she would call my radio show and have me come to her affairs. She called me one day. She said, "Reverend Al, I want to send you something." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "What's your home address?" And she sent it. About 3 days later, I got a check made out National Action Network signed by Aretha Franklin. I saw about a month later, I said, "You know, I was so blown away. I grew up looking up to you that I framed that check." She said, "Boy, don't you have a copy machine?" She said, "You don't know how I am with my bank accounts. You better cash that check." And but all of her life, she supported the causes. She was a feminist before feminism was popular. She was a civil rights activist when it wasn't popular. She gave us pride, and she gave us a regal bar to reach. And that's why we're all here. We don't all agree on everything, but we agree on Aretha. And she fought for everybody. I remember when we were used to picket, Charles Williams and all of us jumping on the record industry, she said, now y'all leave Clive Davis alone. He's one of the good ones. She loved Clive and said, we got to remember what happened to the Irish and what happened to Jews and what happened to blacks. And that is why we remember her legacy, because she sang a song for all of us. She was the soundtrack of the civil rights movement. If you track where we are, you can follow where Aretha had us. That's why when I look at her and James Brown, whose daughter is here, and others who paid a price, that opened the door, but never forgot where they came from. She was rooted in the black church. She was bathed in the black church. And she took the black church downtown and made folks that didn't know what the Holy Ghost was shout in the middle of a concert. You never saw her perform without her doing gospel, because she never was one to forget where she came from. And that's why we give her this great homegoing. We thank her for what she did with Dr. King. We thank her for what she's done with Reverend Jackson. We thank her for what she's done with all of us. And that is why, you know, the other Sunday on my show, I misspelled respect. And a lot of y'all corrected me. Now I want y'all to help me correct President Trump to teach him what it means. And I say that because when word had went out that Miss Franklin passed, Trump said she used to work for me. No, she used to perform for you. She worked for us.
Yes!
Aretha never took orders from nobody but God. So Aretha, as you get your rest, my mother passed about 6 years ago. President Clinton, my mother and I had a deal. She said, I'll meet you on the other side. You live the way you're supposed to, and I'll see you in heaven. I said, well, Ma, they tell me there is no bodies in heaven, just spirits. How am I going to know you? I know her sons are. How will I know her? She said, I tell you, you meet me at the exchange counter. I said, exchange counter? What kind of exchange counter? She said, well, right after you get through the Golden Gates, there's an exchange counter. That's where you hand in your cross to pick up your crown. We watched Aretha bear her cross down here. She had to sing with a broken heart. She had to work when she didn't get paid. She was a black woman in a white man's world. She bared her cross. She fought a good fight. Now it's time to crown the queen. I'll see you at the exchange counter where you can now hand in your cross. Ain't no cancer over there, Aretha. Hand in your cross and pick up your crown. As I take my seat, I've been asked to read this Don't do that. Because I only have 5 minutes and y'all will make me go into something else. Dear friends and family of Aretha, Michelle and I extend our heartfelt sympathies to all of those who gathered in Detroit, and we join you in remembering and celebrating the life of the Queen of Soul. From a young age, Aretha Franklin rocked the world of anyone who had the pleasure of hearing her voice, whether bringing people together through thrilling intersections of genres or advancing important causes through the power of song. Aretha's work reflected the very best of the American story, in all of its hope and heart, its boldness and its unmistakable beauty. In the example she set both as an artist and a citizen, Aretha embodied those most revered virtues of forgiveness. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're taking your calls 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net. nationalactionnetwork.net. I see the mayor is on the message board. He's given me a few messages this morning, but let me give you the last one. Mayor Rodney Jones of Queensbridge Houses in Queens, New York says, I wonder how Trump's partner, Netanyahu, feels about him cozying up to the Saudi crown prince. He can't be happy. Very interesting, because the crown prince and Saudis would not recognize Israel and would not deal with Israel. Now they're being lauded, wined, and dined by Netanyahu's main, as we would say, ace boom coon. Yeah, the mayor raised a very good question. Where's Netanyahu on that? Very, very good question. I've been hearing crickets from Netanyahu, by the way. Cedric Cooper says, while he's bombing boats in Venezuela, his partner Putin is still killing innocent folks in Ukraine. Something not clean in the milk. Yeah, and I think you raise a very good point, Cedric. Trump has focused on saying he's going in Venezuela. He's ordered the killing of who he says are drug boats, boats bringing drugs into the United States. The people on the boat are not being charged, not given due process, not given the right to defend themselves pro or con. They just kill them. Execution. Man, just imagine if somebody starts sending people here, just start shooting and killing boats off the United States harbor and with no evidence presented. And like I said the other day, that I don't even see them showing the drugs they claim they were transporting. I mean, you go to court, they present the evidence. If you shot everybody on the boat, then there'll be no problem taking the drugs off the boats and say this is what we were stopping. Oh, Reverend, it went in the water. Well, then how come none of it has floated back up to the top? I mean, show me something. Or is this a distraction to not deal with Epstein files and other things? Because he's the master of distraction. Tresha is saying, I have an account with One United and Faith Cooperative Federal Credit Union. I was just trying to encourage others to put their money where their mouth is. It doesn't take a lot. Just do something. Trisha, you right on point there. Right on point. That's why I'm going up in these companies, straight up. Because, and I support and have participated in the boycotts call, but we've not gotten anything from it. We've shown we can hurt companies. But as we've launched boycotts, we've made companies turn around on buying from our products, banking in our banks, and all that. I don't want to know that I can hurt you. I want to know that I can help you. I'm not a political sadist. I am a creative person want to build in our community. I think what you're saying is right. Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Ray?
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call, Rev. Rev, on this Epstein thing, let me take that back. Let me go to the Crown Prince. The purpose of his visit, I don't know, but now here you have the Crown Prince. We had someone or ordered and someone who worked for an American company, the Washington Post, killed, that's owned by Fox, that's owned by the owner of Fox, Trump's favorite media outlet. Go figure. Had it been Hitler, he probably would have done the same thing with Hitler if Hitler was still alive. This guy's crooked, as you wouldn't believe, Rev, but on the Epstein files, now they always show on MS Now, they show this clip where Trump is with Epstein and he got a girl in the background along with Ghislaine Maxwell and Trump doing this little dance. And I wish somebody would read his lips, because one clip he was saying, man, she's hot. I don't know if anybody caught that. I wish somebody read his lips and tell us what he's saying. But he did say, and I saw it, he said, she's hot. It doesn't take a genius to actually read that. She's hot. And I don't know where they were, but you've seen the clip where he's just doing this little dance. He's
I
happy
did.
as can be, like
I've seen it several times. Yeah.
Yeah. And so his own this country's own intel said that Ben Salman had this man killed, and Trump is siding with a known killer, and Congress and all these Republicans and MAGA, they're just putting their head in the sand,
right?
And so, but if when it comes to this vote, on Obamacare at the end of the year, if they don't take a vote, the traitor eight, these 8 Democrats have no one to blame but themselves.
Right. I
because
agree.
they're putting their faith in known liars. Speaker Johnson, he's a known liar.
Right.
Donald Trump, he's a known liar. And one last thing, Donald Trump called this reporter piggy. How sick is that?
Yeah, real sick.
She asked him a legitimate question, and he actually threatened ABC News, like maybe we need to take him off the air. It's fake news. But to call a reporter piggy, why would you embarrass the Crown Prince? He's here as my guest. This is a known killer. That's a head scratcher to me, Rev. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you for your call, Ray. Let me go to Dylan. Dylan in New Jersey. Dylan.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Reverend Al, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Dylan?
Good. Darwin Cooper here from Vineland, New Jersey. It's an honor to have you on the phone. Thank you for your time and for all you have done for the our people of this country, Reverend Al. I just want to thank you. Two questions. What advice would you give a young activist trying to make a difference in their community? And then second, obviously we see what's going on with the mass war with ICE on illegal immigrants. How would you, I know, they're our neighbors and our sisters and our brothers. What could we do to help them that the federal government, the Trump administration, is just raving war on them? It's just terrible.
Well, two very good questions, extremely important questions that can be connected. One is I would advise young activists, and we do this in National Action Network. I sit with a lot of our chapter leaders who are young, some in their 30s and a few in their 20s. And I tell them, first of all, you should adopt your own style. Your own organizer. Don't become an imitator, a mimic of anybody. A mistake I think a lot of older leaders make is they want people to imitate them. No, you want them to continue in the struggle and maybe in the tradition you believe in. But only an insecure person wants to see somebody mimic them. So deal with your own style. Find out your comfort level of what you do. Then identify the 2 or 3 areas of concern that you feel that are not being dealt with, but that impact our people. I remember when I was very young, I saw a lot of the civil rights groups. I grew up in Operation Breadbasket, but I said, well, why is nobody dramatizing police brutality? These cops are killing us and getting away with it. And why are they not dramatizing racial profiling? I had people that would ride up and down the New Jersey Turnpike and get pulled over. And I'm talking about people that were making good money. Eddie Murphy was living out there. If you were black in a Mercedes, they'd be pulling you over. So I started fighting on those issues that the older, more established groups wouldn't fight. They was talking about Sharpton them out there fighting the cops. We dealing with the broad, the global issues. And we built a movement. Why? Because we were dealing with stuff that people felt, and they didn't feel the global thing. They felt the cop on the corner. They felt being pulled over. So identify the 2 or 3 things that you feel is pertinent that is not being dealt with. And you can do it by joining a group and forming your own group within the group, or starting your own group. Lastly, we need to then make alliances. Right now, there's not enough alliances on the ground. I'm starting to see some. I know Nan is trying to do it with some of the victims of this deportation that you bring up, because it's only a matter of time it's coming to us. If they get away with it with Mexicans, they will start next with Haitians. And let me tell you something, I don't know where you live in Jersey, but if you and a Haitian walk down the block, they don't know the difference between y'all. Y'all look the same. They will grab both of y'all. So we need to be on it. So you asked a very good question. And think about those things. If you want to work with us,
absolutely, Rev. Not to interrupt you, I would love to come up on a Saturday.
Come up
to meet you. Yeah.
Come up, say you're Dylan, talk to me on the radio, and they'll take you right to me. And I love your position. Thank you for your call.
Appreciate it.
Keep it at real. Sharpton. Be right back after the break.
Country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. Yeah. One more time. I want to say this song. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Backstage at the Apollo Theater, and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song, and I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Then I went home and I told my mother what Brown told me. And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief. All we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 don't smile on me. Now then, the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. That has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I said, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Great Power said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. Lord, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has the answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God he was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God way out of no way if you just keep the faith and refuse to lose. And God will make a way because God's children don't have color. God's children just have will. And I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me sing here. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord. 1, 2, 3, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. How I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, got that feeling, y'all. Come on. Feeling, baby. Oh, I got the feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got the feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored. All right.
Live, Rev.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, keeping it real, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Jay Wright in South Carolina. Jay Wright, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Reverend Alpha Sharpton, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very well. It's a pleasure to be on with you today. I want to, at some point, I want to get you on my Sunday morning here in Charleston, South Carolina. I live in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, actually, right? But I'm on from 9 to 10 Sunday mornings. I often call it the social civic hour while people are on their way driving to church. And I'm covering the critical issues. But several things I want to get a chance to get your thoughts on. Number one, what I'd like to eventually get you on my show here in South Carolina for, and I think I've talked to you about this before. We got this House Bill 3039 here in South Carolina that hopefully next legislative session, which will be the 11th year after the Emmanuel 9 shooting, where that domestic terrorist went in the church here in Charleston and killed those 9 black folks that was worshiping.
Right.
Next year will be the 11th year. And so what I guess want to eventually get you on to share with us here in South Carolina your thoughts on what we need to be doing and to make sure that next year is not a repeat of this past 10 years of not getting that bill passed. Now, of course, we're sitting here in South Carolina. I'm a retired Army veteran. I serve active duty for a career, and we're sitting here in South Carolina, and we're one of 2 states that does not have a hate crime bill. And we're also going to be voting for a new governor next year. The current governor, McMaster, has said that he doesn't see where we need a hate crime bill. And so, I want to get you on one Sunday morning to talk about that with my listening audience, and then share some of your thoughts on what you think we need to do going into this next legislative session.
Let me say this. You can leave your number with the producer, but my national Sunday morning radio show is between 9 and 10, so maybe we can pre-tape something. But give him the information. Let's see what we can work out. I'd be very interested in it.
certainly appreciate you on that. Yesterday, you talked about blowing up all these boats and what is going to become of that. I don't know, Reverend Al, but I've been living long enough to think that drug cartels, those guys are they're not interested in losing millions of dollars. They're interested in making millions of dollars. So if they're producing these drugs, they're looking to make money. And I can't understand for the life of me how 18, 19 boats are being blown up and then there's no repercussion from the drug cartels that obviously supposed to be loading these boats to go to wherever they're going, right? There just not seem to be enough blowback from the people who I would assume, because it's not the Venezuelan government that got those boats out there, obviously. I'm just not seeing enough blowback on that one. And then the Epstein issue. You mentioned earlier how concerned you are about the comments that was made yesterday about the journalist in the killing in front of the Saudi Crown Prince. We all saw the emails, how Epstein said that he could bring Donald Trump down, right? And so does this not look good when, okay, number one, he said he can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and still become president, but it does not look all Americans should we not be concerned about what we heard him say yesterday about the killing of that American journalist?
Yeah, it should. We should be outright alarmed. Absolutely.
Because it seems like it's either one or the other. It's either something that he supported and endorsed, or something that he should never, in a public setting, give the impression that it was okay.
Well, I think he gives the impression that it was okay by even hosting him in the Oval Office. I mean, to bring this man in, seat him there as an equal in the Oval Office, and then have an all but in name state dinner for him last night. I don't know how else you don't act like you are supportive of him or relating to him. He did everything you would do for an American ally, an ally of the country.
Yes, it's kind of amazing. And the whole idea that the royal treatment that was given to when he went over to England with Andrews and all those guys,
right?
I thought that was very as concerning. Why? Because just weeks later they punished Andrew, which obviously had some ties to Epstein, but just treated the president and his wife to a royal treatment as if he was not associated or was not named in any of this. That kind of was concerning as well. But Reverend Al, I want to always thank you, man.
All right, well, thank you. Make sure you give us the contact. I'd like to work some out that we can do your show and really deal with what you're talking about, because it has been 11 years, and I really want to follow that up. But thank you for your call, Jay Wright.
Thank you, Reverend Al.
All right, brother Jay Wright. And let me say this. I think that Jay Wright made some excellent points, because no one is looking at the fact that during the shutdown lasted 43 days. Trump only met with the Democratic leadership, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, one time. He went all over the world meeting with heads of states. He met more with heads of states from other countries and went to other countries than he met with the Democrats to try to end the shutdown. So it shows where his priorities are. And it shows where the governing under him has been. But if one way to measure it, let me put it this way. If you think that we are being extreme, myself and others, even Jay Wright that just called, imagine if Barack Obama, or I don't even have to go that far, if Joe Biden had brought the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, who was, according to all American intelligence, signed off on, if not conspired, the killing of this Washington Post reporter or columnist. Imagine the reaction of the right wing would have. They would be up on impeachment charges. And these people have said nothing. They're arguing let me tell you why I started the show an hour and a half ago on this. They're arguing about whether or not to expose people that were raping underage girls. I mean, this is unfathomable to me. What is there to discuss? That should have been made public. I don't care who they were. Underage girls. I have 2 daughters. If either of them had been molested, raped, or even seduced before they were grown, I can't think of what my reaction would not have been. So if we got, that's why I started the show and ever go talking about where's the moral code. We've gone to now where we're debating whether we're going to expose people that raped underage girls. I mean, so how do we call other countries barbaric? And sometimes I think we rush through the headlines so that we don't think about, wait a minute, look at what we're talking about here. We're talking about shooting up boats, killing people that we don't know whether they're selling drugs or not. They've not been prosecuted. There's no been evidence. They've never been brought in court of law. Just kill them. I mean, it is absolutely a state of recklessness that anything goes. And I'm telling you, if we don't start talking about it, and if we don't start dealing with it, it's going to come grab us. Like one of the callers said, I think the brother from Jersey, we sit up there and let them run ice through the neighborhood and get anybody that looks Spanish. They just doing a dress rehearsal for grabbing you and me. You must set boundaries. You can't set them when you're the target that they've already grabbed. I'm telling you, whether it's young women, whether it's accusing people of selling drugs that we're not seeing, whether it is ICE, don't set us up for stuff we allow because we have no boundaries and no moral code. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would have been together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day, as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee, sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars, focus on the journey. Michael beat him. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to thank to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers. We thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. Now, I want his three children to know wasn't nothing strange about your host.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, twitter.com, The Rev Al, and I'm taking your calls, of course, at 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net live stream. Let me say again, I've been working the phones during the breaks. I'm really going to dig deep this weekend on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton on MS Now. Used to be MSNBC, MS Now. Same channel, same station. I really want to dig deep into what we're facing in terms of the Affordable Care Act about to be expired. The Supreme Court, whether it's going to take up this whole dismissal by the federal court in Texas of our voting districts there, saying that they were race-based and they stopped it. I want to deal with that. I want to deal with the whole question of the Epstein files. And would they allow any other person to hide this situation? And I'm going to have on governors and senators. You know, I do not believe in just putting friends on of mine that want to talk, show the world how smart they are. I want people in the mix. Why aren't y'all doing this? What about this? How does this impact us? And I'm on the phones already. I know it's Wednesday, but I'm on the phones already because I want to get the right governors, the right senators. So I have staff over there at MS Now, but I also make calls myself, which is why sometimes you can see we get guests others can't get. So make sure you watch it, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, 5 p.m. Saturday Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Sunday Eastern Time. You that are in the New York area, please come and be with us Saturday morning at the Saturday Action Rally. I'll be there this Saturday. It's Thanksgiving leading in. I have a Thanksgiving message I want you to hear at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. You that cannot get to Harlem, you can watch us live on Impact Television, the only national black-owned gospel cable network. And, of course, you can watch it live streaming National Action Network. Also, I want you that want to come or want to volunteer and come to our giving away turkeys, people that want to have turkeys for Thanksgiving, but because of whatever circumstances, many of which was beyond their control. They could have been part of the shutdown. They could have not been restored to SNAP. Help me give away turkeys. Or if you need a turkey, 5 o'clock next Tuesday, the 20th, we start at 5 p.m. Eastern Time at the House of Justice. I'm giving them out myself at 5 p.m. Eastern Time at the House of Justice, 145th and Lenox. That's next Tuesday. And then 2 days later, Thanksgiving Day, we have hot meals. We all sit and eat with those seniors that don't have family to have Thanksgiving dinners, those homeless out of homeless shelters, those that want to come and just spend an hour and help serve. So you may want to serve, or you may want to come and say, I don't have family. I want to eat with y'all. Eat with me on Thanksgiving Day. All you have to do to make sure you have a place, whether you're volunteering to help or getting a seat there, call the toll-free number right now, 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. So don't just come and say, now I want to eat Rev Mal. Did you call? And because we got to reserve those areas. People that are just coming through, getting hot plates, going on home, that's one thing. So make sure we call. And I'm not a great believer in the what they did to the Native Americans, but I know what it is to not have something on Thanksgiving and everybody else got something. And I've always promised that I would do to make sure that young folks and older folks didn't have to go through with some stuff I had to go through. All right, let's go. Let's go to Tony in Brooklyn, New York. Tony, is Tony there?
Hello. Hey, how you doing, Reverend? Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I'm calling. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm calling to. I wanted to talk about Intro 948, the legislation that's going up for a hearing tomorrow here at City Hall in New York City. First, I wanted to say that I appreciate I wanted to say I appreciate the fact that you support the bill. There's just been a lot of misinformation that's being put out about Intro 948 that's being pushed by the hotel lobby. And I read the article that you put in the Daily News, and I thought it was very well versed. It was put together very, very nicely. And I think a lot of people aren't understanding the detrimental impact that laws like Local Law 18 are having, particularly on Black and brown New Yorkers who are facing displacement at a very rapid rate. Now, I just wanted to, if I could, just clarify some of the tenets of Intro 948 because of this huge push, this misinformation campaign that has been pushed by the HTC. I just wanted to clarify certain things for those of your listeners who may want to understand what the bill is about. And I'm saying this as the person who actually drafted the legislation that led to 948A.
Okay.
So one of the things that the HTC has been claiming is that Intro 948 is somehow going to impact the city's housing stock, the long-term rental stock. First of all, 948 has absolutely nothing to do with tenants. It has nothing to do with renters. It's a simple carve-out that is made for private dwelling owners. These are 1 and 2 family homeowners who live in their own homes. So it's a lot of fear-mongering that's been used, I've noticed, that uses vulnerable tenants, and it pits them against small homeowners who, many of them immigrants, they're elders, they're Black and brown, and they came to New York City, they saved their money, they worked hard, and they bought their homes, and they're trying to pass down some semblance of generational wealth to their children. And I just think it's particularly nefarious when you see this multi-million-dollar lobby that's spending so much money on these lobbyist groups like Tenants Not Tourists that are trying to trivialize the conversation and pit people against each other in order to protect hotel profits. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that Local Law 18 is about hotel profits. It has nothing to do with tenants, has nothing to do with the housing supply. And when it comes to the housing supply, you know there's a big problem here in New York City with affordable housing, with just housing stock altogether. And if we want to be honest about that conversation, we're going to have to talk about the 50,000 plus rent stabilized units that are being warehoused right now.
That's right.
We have to talk about the heavy influx of all of the multimillionaires that are moving into New York City, and they're buying up the multiple dwelling units and they're converting them into millionaire mansions. So you got people that are buying like 5-family buildings and they're gutting them out and turning them into 1-family mansions that is also taken from the housing stock. And we also have to talk about the landlord-tenant laws that pretty much disincentivize any small homeowner who would even try to dare to consider to become a landlord, because we know that the way the laws are here in New York City, it facilitates bad actors to sit in your home as non-paying tenants for years, which could send a small homeowner into foreclosure immediately. So I just want to make sure that
I thank you for the information. I thank you for the information. And one of the things National Action Network took a position on supporting you and the bill on, and I talked to the president of the Speaker of the City Council, Adrian Adams, and others who are supporting it, is that there was a lot of misinformation. I've worked with the Hotel Workers Union, and I've supported them on things. They've supported National Action Network. But on this one, you have homeowners, black homeowners, that need to be able to deal with renting out a room or two in their home. I'm not talking about those that's going to be moving up to Martha's Vineyard and not living there. In their home to help them make ends meet. Well, why are we not allowing that to happen? And that's why we came in with the bill. They had a forum last night at the House of Justice. Reverend Malcolm Boyd, our chief operating officer, had, and a lot of the homeowners. So my thing is, we can disagree, but let's not give misinformation. And I think that you clarified a lot. Thank you for your call, Tony. Let me go to Mrs. Jones.
Let's take a break.
Let me take a break. I'll come back to Mrs. Jones right after the break. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
We have a short visit today, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We were cool. Yeah, we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses.
Good to see you again, sir. It's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Right, last time. And we,
Alexander Shaw. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
I just the two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went for his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket.
Wow.
To South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And where I knew Jesse was from James, I started brother.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came to me in January. His daughter swear that was daddy and him and pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, do you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But now.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say, you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old. Went to jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our story. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV.
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we are back keeping it real with Al Sharpton, and I'm taking your calls and your messages on the message board. And we've had some very good messages and very good calls on the message board. I'm coming back to the message board, but I think I was going to Miss Jones right before the break in Philadelphia, WURD. Miss Jones.
Yes, Rev. Thank you so much for taking my call. I do appreciate it. I want you to know that you're in my prayers every day, along with all the other people like yourself and Reverend Jackson, who are, on the front line, to make a long story short.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I did call to speak about the dictator that was in the White House. But I want to quickly agree with you as to where are these drugs. Just, I want to move because I know you have a lot of callers, and to bomb people without due process, and he was the one that utilized due process over and over again, it's just unthinkable. So that's one thing. And we all have busy lives, but like you said also, with so much going on in this country, we cannot just treat these things as headlines. As a matter of fact, concerning the dictator that was in the Oval Office, we need to put the right title to these people. I've called already the White House, and I want to quickly give that number out, if you don't mind.
No problem.
202-456-1111. 202-456-1111. We all live busy lives, but it's the way things are happening here so quickly in America. We have to make sure we invest some time as better angels to stand up against everything. I can't think of anything that he's done thus far, and I don't think I need to call a name here. I hate calling his name, for the American people. He seems to represent dictators. And what he fails to realize, that office represents the United States, not him personally, not his family members. Everywhere he travels, he's supposed to represent America and not himself. But of course, we know that he's ignorant, but yet he has the most powerful position in this country. And we need to really stay on all of these matters. I thought about developing little groups to call on different things every day, like someone can be dealing with immigration, someone else can be dealing with that, to speak with their elected officials, to make a long story short. And one headline I do want to point out is the fact that Epstein, and I quote, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as, the guy. Not one decent cell in his body. So yes,
dangerous. We did not need Epstein to tell us that, because he has shown us over and over again when he met with Putin. He agreed with Putin as to his not being involved. I think it was the election that came up in that subject, and sided with Putin against his own intelligence. So this is a normal behavior for him. So when people show us who they are, we must believe them. Not the second time, but the first time. He's shown us over and over again. He's not representing the American people or the journalist that was killed. And to say that no one likes him and he was a bad person, I mean, he says that about everything if you kind of hear him from time to time. Everybody, a lot of people didn't like him. Does that mean that his body had to be dismembered? No, not everybody here in America likes him, but he has the right to live.
Yeah.
And to say that about a journalist, it is just unthinkable.
I mean, it was almost like, I'm so happy you brought that comment back that he made. And again, it goes back to me where's the moral code, where's the boundaries? Are we really sitting up here letting a president try to find a rationale for killing and cutting up the body of an American newspaper's journalist over there? I mean, why would you even say something like that unless you're trying to justify? They dismembered this man. I mean, how vicious and inhumane can you be?
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying, because it doesn't make sense. You know, and the family member, his girlfriend, can you imagine how she felt hearing the nonsense and the Epstein investigation? I'm not sure how that's going to end, because he ended up calling for the investigation of Clinton and other, Democrats, which is so stupid. If it's a hoax, why you want to investigate? And not only that, it was the investigation, and this case was closed, according to Blondie, whatever her name is, I'm sorry, the AG. And she said, yes, right away, immediately. So they do have a strategy, but the American people, we too have a strategy. We will not let this go, and I know that victims will not allow this to go, because I know how it feels to be violated. But most importantly, we have to stay on all of these issues. If necessary, have our family members just make certain phone calls every single day. Again, I will repeat that number, 202-456-1111. And thank you so much for your time, Ray.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate your time. And I think she raises the correct answer. And I think that we all need to, she raised correct questions, and we all need to demand the answer. On our message board, James Thomas is saying, Rev, breaking news, the DOJ, Department of Justice, has just admitted they screwed up in the James Comey case. Sounds like Comey case may be dismissed. I hope that Trump knows that Comey, James, and others, James being Tish James, that the DOJ is going to get sued for those frivolous lawsuits, and I thought that the Republican Party was against lawsuits. Now, what they admitted in court this morning on the Comey case is that the grand jury never heard part of the evidence. How do you indict somebody from the grand jury, and the grand jury didn't have all the evidence? So he is correct that it is likely to be thrown out. If it's not, I don't know how they justify this, but that is correct news, Bruce Turner. Thank you for your call. Bruce Turner says the Saudis own Trump, just like Putin does. Birds of a feather flock together. Let's go to Brother Jacob in Philadelphia. Brother Jacob at WURD.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Al, and your worldwide listeners. You know, I always come from Philly here. I always give you a Philly International song, and this one would be by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, whom I travel with in my day too. Wake up, everybody. I mean, you know, here in Philadelphia, there was a caller, he calls, our WURD radio station is named Brother O'Kane. And when he would listen to things that was just so undescribable, he would always say, this is absurd. I mean, the behavior of the President of the United States. Everybody. Now, if every American that loves this Constitution that people died for, I'm talking about in war after war, this is the real stuff, right? And this is what it's come to. The bottom line is, what happened, and I'm a Muslim, but that person, the king or the prince, what do they call him, from Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
How could you even attempt to justify such evil? Less you evil. But look, is anything new the sister just said about when he stood before the world and against his own CIA, FBI, he said Putin said he didn't do it, so the heck with United States of America intelligence, right? And the CIA, remember when they told America that the greatest threat to America from within was these white racist groups, right?
Right.
The ones that stormed the Capitol and got pardoned and now have good jobs with ICE. The new Hitler SS soldiers, the brown shirt, right? We can't see this, America? Are you really, my Italian brothers again, who I work with here in Philly, are you kidding me, okay? Are you kidding me? That's what they would say. But again, look, how much your question, Reb Sharpton, how much do you think that it cost the American taxpayers for that show of war off the water of Venezuela? But yet you won't feed hungry Americans.
That's right.
You won't give them health care, right? And if you call that America first, I say give me a break. And what kind of fools do you think the real people who love this, what we were building here, because it wasn't finished. In the church they say, God ain't finished with me yet.
Right.
God wasn't finished with America yet. So, but thank you, Rev. Now.
Good to hear your voice. Thank you for your call. Let's get ready to take our break, and we'll be right back. More of you on the phones and on the message board. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, christen your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
Democracy, that's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
It's the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer. That is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, that ACP would defense forces gathered and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this. Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind? All right, and,
Keeping it real. You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And of course, you can go to message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Edna Frazier Ward is on the message board, and Edna is saying, thank you, Reverend Al Sharpton, for the beautiful message you spoke at my church last Sunday and the beautiful picture you took with me. You are one of the greatest gifts to our community since you were a little boy. I'm also originally from Alabama. My mother was from Alabama. And thank you for that. And you must be talking about the Cornerstone Baptist Church. I preached their 108th anniversary, church anniversary, on Sunday. Reverend Lawrence Aker, dynamic young pastor, minister, and he's following some great pulpiteers, great pastors, the Reverend Dr. Sandy Ray, and we had a great time. Let's go to Cliff in Connecticut online. Cliff and in Connecticut.
Hey, Reverend Sharpton, thanks for taking my call. Hey, man, listen, me and you got something in common. We came out of the Black Baptist Church. Now, you preaching? I don't preach yet, but I'm getting there. But I'm not sure if they like my type of preaching.
All right.
Because I preach that old black stuff. My Jesus is black. My God is black. All that. But let me say this though: with these Epstein files, on a spiritual level. So I'm bypassing politics, but this is spiritual. As a matter of fact, to start off with, let me say this: that what's his name? Tucker Carlson.
Right.
This dude just said that he, I guess, wants to change, and now he's going into Christianity because this is one of the themes that the so-called right wing is saying, that they're more Christian-like, against transgender, against abortion. But for some reason, when it comes down to these children And I'm saying it, and I'm not. And again, let me get away from the politics. But when you violate the innocence of young 5, 6, 7-year-old children, there's something spiritual. So this is darker than just politics. It's a bipartisan thing, because if there's Democrats that are involved in this, Republicans, business leaders, in terms of the sex trafficking and violating these children, that's wicked. And that's wickedness. But let me go back to Tucker Carlson, whatever his name is. He's converting over to Christianity, and he said recently, Reverend Sharpton, that he was attacked by demons. You can look at, you can Google it.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I saw that.
You know, exactly. So the point I'm making is that this spiritual world is real, and we as black people know this, particularly coming from the church, that demons are real, they manifest. So I'm ending and I'm closing by saying this, is that these are satanic rituals that are being committed and sacrificing these young children. And that's what we're dealing with. And so we have echelon, high up people in both political parties, in the business, in other type of venues across the globe that are involved in this occult. And that's what it comes down to, bro. And so people need to take this serious. This is what we're dealing with, and we're dealing with that in this day and time. So the Bible is true. The word of Revelation, we're living in the last days. It's all true. So that's where it comes down to. Not Democrats and Republicans, but we're dealing with wickedness in high places. You know the scripture.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking my call, Rev.
Thank you, Ephesians. You're exactly right. Let me go to the message board. Vivian Denise says, I'm from Dothan, Alabama. Do you have family there? Yes, I do have family there. My older sister is there from my mother's first marriage, Tina Glasgow. Her son, my brother, is there, Reverend Kenneth Glasgow. And my mother's buried in Dothan. My mother was from Dothan, Abbeville, and my mother's buried there in the Dothan area. Her funeral was there. Martin Luther King III and Jesse Jackson, all of them came down, spoke at my mother's funeral. So I'm very familiar with Dothan. Let's go to Monique in North Carolina. Monique, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hi, good afternoon, Reverend. I want to talk about the ICE raids in Charlotte, North Carolina. They have tried to arrest 1,400 people, and they stopped a man on the highway twice. The first incident, they let him go. They ID'd him. And the second one, they, I guess, tried to come up with some lame excuse or whatever. Let me say this, Rev. This has got to stop in this country. We have thugs on our streets right now. This man needs to be impeached. These ICE agents is wearing these masks. They need to be arrested. And Donald Trump and this administration needs to be held accountable. Enough is enough, Rev. Get out of my city. Get out of my state. We don't need this in America. Not in Charlotte. Not anywhere in this country. Thank you for taking my call,
All right,
Rev.
thank you for your call. And I thank you for your call. I had the mayor pro tem of Charlotte on Sunday night, and I'm going to have some more people on this weekend. So watch Politics Nation MS Now because it is outrageous. And I don't understand why there's not more national attention on this. They're going in and just summarily, with no evidence, just grabbing people, holding people, city under siege. And they were talking about coming to New York. I think some of the business interests is trying to get him not to come to New York. Now all of a sudden he wants to meet with Mandani and all of that. This is absolutely inexcusable. And I don't understand why we've been so quiet about it. And, you know, a guy said to me the other day in the airport in Chicago, O'Hare, said, Reverend Al, you always out there. I hear you loud. I said, I'm not that loud. Y'all are so quiet, it sounds loud. If nobody else is talking, you sound louder than you are. Where are y'all? I don't understand how people don't understand that it will be your child next, my child next. You know, in all the years I've been out here for decades, I have never, I almost said almost never, but I in my rewind button in my mind, I've never seen a victim that I've gone and fought for from the 80s, really late 70s to now, that the victim's family was already involved in the movement. It was always people that thought it would never happen to them. Never thought the police would shoot their kid. Never thought they'd be racially profiled like Ahmaud Arbery. All of them, many of them did join the movement as a result, and some have stayed. But none of them was already in the movement. So I don't know what you think you are doing by not being involved. You're not salvaging yourself. It's only a matter of time before it comes to your door. Because they don't care that you're not involved. They are going to do what they want to do, feel they have the right to do until they're stopped. And the only way they stop is we got to stop them. And we can't stop them trying to outgun them. We can only stop them by being in control of the laws of the land and making them enforced, which we had began doing. That's where the backlash come. We had made progress. We talk about Affordable Care Act. We talk about police laws, which we got out of Obama's Policing Act, which made police have to put on cameras on the uniform. We were moving in that direction. That's why they slammed it back with Trump. And I think that we need to be clear about that. I mean, real clear. Tricia said, I like that, Reverend Al. I respect your opinion, Tricia. If I get some fire from you, I see the fire. If I get fire from you, it's been a good day on radio. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, right after this.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
Teaching young kids the right way to go and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we molded them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door. And he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be, he's a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today. It's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, it's right. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say that.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people. But they can get educated, they can go to school, they can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today, it's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Well, since God made the world and God made us, he sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left his laws. If we don't follow his laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example. Because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right. At one
man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in. But let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top and don't discuss it. It's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched out. We say crime is at the highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797 or the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net live stream. Cedric Cooper says they shut down Michael Baisden here in the South. Keep talking, Reverend Dr. Al. We need your voice daily. And I'm here every day daily. Trisha's saying, Cedric Cooper, I used to enjoy his show during my evening commute. He also had great events, GOTV, social gatherings, and debate watch parties. He did. Thank you for that, Trisha. Because let me tell you, when they had arrested, I'm talking 2006, I guess that's 19 years ago, they had arrested some boys in a little town called Gina, Louisiana. And these boys had been at a school, white school, where they had hung a noose and made some racial insults toward the black students going to school. These boys got into it, and they tried to say they assaulted the white kids. It was a riot. They put them in jail. And the parents called me, and I checked it out. I sent our field guy, and Gina's like 2.5, 3 hours outside of New Orleans. I remember when you drive out there, you couldn't even get signal anymore to use your cell phone about an hour out. And we called a march in Gina. I never knew where Gina was. It's like, I got to Baton Rouge, we still had to go 2 hours. And I called Michael Baisden, and I said, I've called this march. Would you partner with me? He said, let's do it. And he and I got on the air every day. That's the kind of person Michael Baisden was. And we put about 10,000 people in Gina. Only about 4,000 people lived in Gina. We brought more than double the amount of people lived there. That's the kind of guy Michael Baisden was and is. So I absolutely agree with you about Michael Baisden. I can't speak for a lot of people that's been behind these mics, but Baisden and Tom Joyner, they were true to what the cause is, no doubt about it. I never seen them back up one time. Y'all got about a lot of entertainers out there now, but these people were real activists and real committed to their audience, no doubt about it. Michelle Cooks says, Gina 6. Yep, you got it right. That's exactly what I was talking about, the Gina 6 case. And a lot of people don't remember Gina 6. We got them boys out of jail, though. Every one of them. One of them went on to stays in touch with me. He's a lawyer now. It's amazing how we don't know our recent history. You know, a lot of people go back to Selma and Birmingham as reference points. And they're right. I do too. I go to Selma every year for the commemoration. But don't act like the movement stopped and the abuse stopped in Birmingham. It went all the way through Gina, all the way through the question of what happened with George Floyd in Minneapolis, all the way through to Neely here in New York. They want to romanticize the past so they don't have to deal with the present. Oh, back in the day, we were terrible. No, y'all terrible now. In many ways, institutionally, just as bad. If you sitting around letting Donald Trump in diversity programs, there was an article in one of the papers this morning, one online, that Department of State Department, is suspending 38 universities, including Harvard and Yale, from their research partnership program because of DEI. 38 universities. The Department of State Department under Rubio, is ending their partnership program with them, research partnership, because they will not, those colleges and universities won't give up DEI. So don't talk about back in the day. We are still in the day. And we need to deal with it today. Mel Heaven Cover Girl says, Rev, how is Reverend Jesse J doing? I check in with his. I was there Monday with him all day, and he's stable. I talked to Jesse Jr. this morning. He's stable. And we just need to keep praying for him. He's not on life support, but he's not, he can't walk, can't do anything on his own, and can only mumble a little, can't really speak. But he's stable, and your prayers are working. Keep praying for him. Tricia is writing, I remember the look on those people's faces as they sat on their porches watching those buses and cars go down to that school. That's right. You talking about Gina. They ain't never seen nothing like that. And this is modern history. I tease a lot of my associates that I guess we're going to have to die for they'll tell the stories of what we did. Well, I guess they put a lot of it in loudmouth on me. But don't let them tell you this was back in the 60s. Oh, back in the Civil Rights Day. We still fighting civil rights. Right now. To end diversity is a civil rights issue. Profiling people by deportation is a civil rights issue. We're talking about back in the day. You don't hear any other group in this country, I want y'all to hear this clear, that outdates people saying things are discriminated against them but us. You don't hear Polish people saying there's no more problems with Polish Americans. You don't hear Jews saying that, or that back in the days with anti-Semitism and Nazism. You don't hear gays saying that. Only black folks act like, oh, that was yesterday. Why is Sharpton and Raisin saying? Because it's still here. And let me tell you a little secret. You accommodating people being racist and being bigoted, you're not fooling them. You fooling yourself. They look at you and say, boy, that boy is crazy. He really think we accept him now. You think they don't look at you like you crazy? But some of us tell ourselves, I just go along, they won't, They won't what? They will say, yeah, we can use this boy, but he's nuts. Or they ain't got good sense. Stop fooling yourself. God said to me when Trump was in the first time, some I know well. If I call the name, 2 or 3 of them, you all would know. Said, Reverend Al, he's going to sign this bill that helps with ex-convicts. I said, part of that bill is good. They said, like you can read Omarosa's book. She was working for Trump, didn't she? She told it all. He'd like you to come to the White House. I said, I'm not going to the White House under Trump. No, I said, I'm not doing the photo op because he'll do one thing and then he'll try to get away with 7 other things. I'm not doing it. And I wouldn't. Because I know that Trump would look and say, I got him in here, but I'm going to slam 3 or 4 more things. Why play with yourself? One thing I do not do is delude myself. I cannot do everything I want to do, but I can sure not do what I don't have to do. Some of y'all are working at jobs right now, listening to me in your cubicle, thinking that if you smile and grin, that impresses your boss. Your boss will only be impressed by your work. And that's the only reason you're there. He ain't going to be your whatever. He's there for business, and I'm here for business. And it's just that simple. I deal with a lot of white friends, Jewish friends, gay friends. I stand up for what is right, and I go home, and you go home. We ain't got to hang out together to prove that I'm not anti-gay or anti-Semitic, and you ain't got to hang out with me to prove you are not racist. Just respect me, I respect you, and that's that. You go to wherever you worship, I go where we say amen and call and response. I'm comfortable with that. I like choirs that sing me happy. quiet anthems don't do it for me. Now, if that do it for you, I ain't got no problem with that, but I like a little hallelujah shout. I don't apologize for being me. That is what I have chosen to be. I am who I am. And I think that if you're secure and emotionally grown, you outgrow the need of pleasing others and adjusting to others. You operate within the boundaries of what will advance where you are in society, but you don't give it at the result of or the risk of your own authenticity. So I'm going to be me. You that watch my TV show, you that listen to radio, you that come to rallies, you that come to marches, you that see me preach at your church, I'm going to be the same Rev Mal. Because I want my grandson, Marcus Al, I only have one grandchild, to always be him. If you look at there, when I fly, Monday night landing here in New York from Chicago, I look up the moon, clouds, stars, never see the stars bump into the moon, never see the moon bump into the sun. God made the universe in perfect order, perfect precision. So why do you think God got to you and made his first mistake? You're not a mistake, and I'm not a mistake. We just need to follow what he put in us. He gave all of us something that we can be. All right, enough preaching for the day. I got to go. I got more, but I'm out of time. Let me thank all of you. It's just me and you solo today, but it was a good day. I'm sorry for those I didn't get to on the board, but I had to let some of this out. But we'll be back tomorrow, and remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Keeping it real.
Breaking